Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission, as always, is pretty clear. Cut through all the noise, pull out those essential nuggets of knowledge from our sources, and basically give you a shortcut to being really well informed. Today, we're jumping headfirst into effective leadership. We're pulling some really powerful stuff from a source called Kaizen and the human element of leadership. And what's cool is it gives us these two distinct but actually really complementary rules for leaders. Ideas that honestly might change how you think about leading your teams.
Exactly. And these aren't, your usual vague leadership sayings. What's really eye-opening, I think, is how they challenge some pretty standard ideas about managing teams and creating success. If you just list like a checklist and more like a mindset shift, you might have a few aha moments here, things that maybe aren't immediately obvious.
Ooh, I'm ready for those aha moments. So we'll kick off with this philosophy of continuous improvement, Kaizen, and then we'll shift gears to talk about just how critical it is to understand the people you're leading. Sort of a journey from systems to souls, you could say. Okay, let's get into it. Right, let's start with what the source calls leadership rule #51. It's stated very simply, commit to Kaizen. Now, Kaizen, if it's not a word you hear every day, it's Japanese. It translates beautifully to continuous improvement, but it's way more than just that translation suggests. Don't think of it like a project, with a start and a finish. It's more like a constant state of becoming better. It really is a deep mindset. Like, imagine a master craftsperson always honing their skill. They don't just make something and say, okay, perfect, done forever. No, they learn from it, they watch, they try new things, always pushing for that next level. Kaizen takes that same relentless drive for perfection and applies it not just to, say, the company's processes, but also, really importantly, to the leader themselves. It means this constant journey of getting better personally, knowing that improvement isn't somewhere you arrive, it's just how you travel.
That artisan comparison is perfect, because the really fascinating part here is how the leader's own commitment to Kaizen directly shapes the whole vibe, the whole environment of the organization. Leaders can't just tell people to improve. They have to be the example. They have to model Kaizen. You've got to live it, not just preach it. And that means actively showing you're committed to your own growth, to learning, to being honest about yourself, admitting when you messed up and showing, hey, here's what I learned from that. If you don't have that genuine modeling, Kaizen can just feel like Kaizen washing, right? Just another buzzword pushed from the top. But when a leader truly embodies it, wow, the impact is huge. It fosters this culture where experimentation is actually valued. People feel safer trying things, even if it doesn't pan out perfectly. It really encourages creativity, new ideas from everywhere, and it allows for calculated risks. People feel empowered to push things a bit. It's not just about tiny efficiency tweaks. It's like democratizing innovation. Every single person becomes a potential problem solver.
And the ripple effects from that sound incredible. When leaders genuinely live Kaizen, it stops being just an order from above and becomes like a shared value. It spreads through the whole place, empowering people at every level. They don't just sit back waiting for orders. They feel genuinely encouraged to spot areas needing improvement. And, this is key, to actually suggest innovative solutions themselves. And that's not just a nice thing. It directly boosts employee engagement. People feel heard, they feel valued, they feel like they actually make a difference. It makes people more productive because everyone's looking for smarter ways. And definitely increases job satisfaction because they're part of shaping their own work. Makes work feel less like just a job, more like a craft.
And if you connect that to the bigger strategic picture, leaders who embody Kaizen aren't just inspiring good work, they're building adaptability into the organization's DNA. Think about a company that's constantly, bit by bit, improving its product, its service, how it works inside. This continuous evolution gives it a real competitive advantage. Others might just react to changes. A Kaizen organization sort of anticipates and adapts. It turns problems into opportunities. So by embracing this, leaders can genuinely transform their organization, make it resilient, learning, adaptive, always improving. It means you're never just standing still, always evolving, always looking for that next step up. It builds this really robust, future-ready company that can handle curveballs. It's thriving, not just surviving.
That really does sound like a game changer for leadership. But okay, as powerful as that commitment to always improving is, it kind of only works if you remember the engine behind those improvements, which is the people, right? And that leads us perfectly into the second big insight, leadership rule #6. And this one's phrased in a really interesting way in the source. It's cool if you know processes, but do you know people?
Yeah, I love how direct that is. It really gets straight to the point, doesn't it? It forces leaders to look past the flowcharts, the SOPs, the main message. Processes are vital, sure. They give structure, efficiency, and necessary framework. But ultimately, They're just tools. They're the scaffolding, not the builders. The real power behind any success, any new idea, any ability to bounce back, it's always the people. They're the engine, the spark, the heart, not just cogs in a machine. I mean, think about a perfectly designed process that fails because the team using it wasn't really understood or their input wasn't sought. The best process is useless without people who are actually engaged.
Exactly. To really get the best out of your team, it's absolutely vital for leaders to understand their individual strengths, where they need to grow, and crucially, what makes them tick. Their motivations. You could have the slickest process ever, but if the people running it aren't switched on, if their talents aren't used right, or if you don't tap into what drives them personally, well, it just won't deliver what it could. It's like having a Formula One car, but putting the wrong kind of fuel in it. It just won't perform. And getting that deep understanding, it doesn't just happen. The source really stresses it comes from intentionally building relationships. That means actually investing time and energy connecting with team members as humans. It also takes sharp observation skills, really watching how people operate, interact, where they shine, where they might struggle a bit. And the aim always is to put everyone in the best possible position to contribute effectively to the team's success.
Which, brings up a really interesting question for leaders today. How do you balance getting that deep understanding with keeping professional boundaries, especially with remote work and everything? It's tricky.
We're not saying be their best friend, but you need to know enough to help them succeed.
That's a really good point about the boundaries, and it highlights the contrast perfectly. Processes give you that skeleton, right? That framework. But it's the human element that brings it to life. Like, imagine a crisis hits. Your manual might have the first few steps, but it's the people who bring the creativity to find a workaround, the innovation to pivot, and that sheer resilience, that human spirit to push through and adapt. You can program a robot perfectly, but it won't suddenly invent a better way or encourage a teammate who's down or rally everyone when things get tough. That human spark is invaluable.
And that's precisely the point our source makes finishing up this section. It's that deep grasp of the human element that really marks out the exceptional leaders. It's a difference between just managing tasks and truly leading, inspiring, creating an environment where people can genuinely thrive and give their best. Knowing your processes, foundational, absolutely. But knowing your people, that's what takes you from good to great leadership. So what's the takeaway for you listening? It means maybe shifting focus a bit from just managing the work to really leading and nurturing the individuals doing it, seeing their unique value.
So now let's weave these two powerful rules together. Commit to Kaizen, and it's cool if you know processes, but do you know people? I really want you, our listener, to think about how these two aren't just separate ideas, but how they actually feed each other. They work together. Like, how does that Kaizen culture, that continuous improvement focus, actually allow people to be more creative, to speak up with solutions instead of just doing what they're told? And then the other way around, how does really knowing your people let you put Kaizen into practice effectively? So it's not just a poster on the wall, but something that actually lives and breathes in the team. It feels like a cycle, right?
Oh, absolutely. The synergy is huge, and yes, it's definitely a virtuous cycle. The human element doesn't just help continuous improvement, it basically powers the whole Kaizen engine. I mean, think about it. If you don't understand your people, what drives them, their unique talents for innovation, how willing they are to try things, then just saying, let's do Kaizen could fall flat. It might just feel like another order from management, another metric to track instead of something everyone believes in and contributes to. But when leaders really know their people, they can see who to empower with specific challenges, whose ideas need championing, how best to support the experiments that Kaizen needs. It makes continuous improvement real, collaborative, embedded in how things are done. And flip side, a Kaizen culture that encourages learning and makes it safe to fail. That makes it easier for people to be open about strengths, weaknesses, suggest ideas without fear, and do the self-reflection that helps you know people better. They definitely reinforce each other. It creates this momentum for growth.
That's a great way to put it. These aren't just, theoretical concepts. They're really actionable principles. And when you combine them, you're not just tweaking a process or making a team happier. You're building this really strong, dynamic foundation for success. Whether it's a tiny project team or the whole company, it's about creating something that not only performs well now, but also learns, adapts, and keeps getting better. Okay, let's wrap up this deep dive. We've distilled two really potent takeaways for any leader listening. First, that transformative power of commit to Kaizen, that relentless drive for continuous improvement for yourself and your organization, seeing every challenge as a chance to grow. And second, the absolute bedrock importance of knowing your people, not just their job titles, but their strengths, what makes them tick, their hidden talents, to really unlock creativity, build resilience, and forge a truly dynamic team.
Exactly. They're not separate tracks, they run together. They're two sides of the same leadership coin. And maybe just one final thought to leave you with. How might really doubling down on both your own personal growth, your Kaizen, and on deepening your understanding of your team members? How might that fundamentally change how you tackle daily challenges, maybe starting this week? Just think, what's one small Kaizen tweak you could make, maybe in how you run meetings or manage your email? And then, how could knowing just one person on your team a little better impact that right away? The answers might surprise you, and they could be the spark for your next big step forward as a leader.
Really powerful things to think about. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. We really hope you'll reflect on these principles. We'll catch you on the next one.